Hey, I don't know how everybody's doing out there, but I'm back. I don't know if you heard the title right, but yes, I'm drawing this again. Shut up, I like it. I like what I draw. So be quiet and just sit back and watch me do this. But we're going to be talking about some subjects while we're at it. We're going to be talking about my movie review of Captain Underpants. We're also going to be talking about how would you say the perspective of the mind whenever you're watching films, pretty much, because there's a video from Lindsay Ellis that I want to talk about. Not bashing her, actually. I find her videos very, very interesting. I really like her videos a lot. And I don't know, maybe we're going to talk about more Villainous. I don't know. I mean, there is something that I want to talk about with it, but I don't know if it's going to be that very long. And if not, then I'll just play music in the background while you guys see me draw or whatever. So, right now I'm erasing the pencil marks that I did Demencia. Yeah, that's her name. Get the floor all dirty. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna get her. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna start with her, actually, I forgot to include the horns. God dang it, I forgot to include the horns. How's the horn go? There we go. Because I don't know why, it's just the fact that this character is a lot more difficult to draw than, well, no, I would say, here's the weird thing, the bear, I always get the bear, like, whenever I draw him, I just always get him wrong. He's apparently the animal that I get wrong all the time. I get him wrong all the time, and I can't help it if I get him wrong all the time. So, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. I actually need to sharpen my pencil really quick. Anyway, so, yeah, Captain Underpants. I went to go see it on Sunday. And oh god. Yeah, you're gonna be in the dark for a minute. It was a movie that my expectations were it was going to be alright. Let me sharpen this one. Okay, that's good enough. It was a movie that I thought was going to be alright. I never read the books, never read the original Captain Underpants books. All I just knew it was very, very popular. It was popular back when I went to elementary school, or at least, every time I went to the Books A Million, I would see all these Captain Underpants books. I would see, all these popular books, like Captain Underpants, Goosebumps, all that stuff. And I would see it all the time at Books A Million whenever I went to the mall. So, I never read the books. I have no association with the books. I just, they were just there. I never read them or anything like that. So I have no attachment to the books whatsoever. So, I went in this movie thinking that, it had a really, really great art style. I'm noticing that, now that Blue Sky has opened the door with the Peanuts movie, now DreamWorks is going to take on that animation style as well, being a very, cartoony character design. I would, I also would say cartoony animation as well, which is something that a lot of anime films are taking up nowadays. Very, very, very expressive, very cartoonish animation, and putting it into 3D. And it was something that was not very done all the time. I think the first one to do it was, again, going back to Sony Pictures Animation. I think they were the first ones to do it with Cloudy with the Chance Meatballs. I don't think they perfected it until Hotel Transylvania came out. But, they were the first ones to do, different type of animation that wasn't, all too realistic in terms of character animation. And I would say that now it's being used now because this is an appealing thing to kids for them to see. And also it's very cheap. I just found out that this movie cost $38 million, which a normal animated film would cost probably 70 or more $million to make. And now they're going to outsource to get this cheaper animation so they can make more of their budget. And, from what I could tell, Captain Underpants, is turning out, if it stays in the top 5 box office, it's going to be a huge hit. At least until Despicable Me 3 comes out, which is going to be in June. So, I mean, at least, DreamWorks is actually getting money from this because, Boss Baby made a crap ton of money. So they're really happy. They're really happy that they can also get this money too. But would it be worth them if Captain Underpants was a hit? What I'm asking is Captain Underpants pretty much is it? Yeah, how do I put this? I'm trying to see if I can put this correctly. Is Captain Underpants pretty much destined to be a hit? Is it really made to be a hit? And my answer would be yes and no, maybe, because I think DreamWorks does deserve the money. I think it's a struggle. Right now, DreamWorks is in a very, very iffy spot right now. They could either rise to the occasion or they can crash and burn. And right now that DreamWorks has pretty much out of that because they've been bought up by Illumination, and now that they are both in cahoots with each other. They're gonna make money at least, and they're gonna at least stay up for a long time. They're gonna really stay up for a long time. Illumination is probably behind Disney, is probably the most successful animation powerhouse out there, even though their movies haven't been as successful as something or haven't been as critically accepted as Disney or Pixar, but they have, all that matters to them is money. But I'm saying to the fact that Captain Underpants is a very interesting thing to talk about because of the fact that I've seen this movie marketed a lot. And especially from that budget, it's very impressive how this movie got marketed to various white audiences. Mainly for kids because it is a very kid-friendly art style. And I'll just come out of the woodworks right now that having that kiddie type art style, I think it really helps the movie. It does remind me a lot of the Peanuts animated movie, not just in the animation, which it's own, it has its own style. It's not directly ripping off Peanuts. I gotta charge my thing again. It's not ripping off Peanuts. It has a different style, similar to what the books have, and it has all of these different types of animation. There's sock puppets in there. There's 2D animation. There's, I'm sorry if this is taking forever. It's just the fact that this won't. Come on, sharpen. Okay, you're good enough. I have a terrible sharpener. I gotta go get a new one. So yeah, I really do, admire this type of animation. I just hope it doesn't get all that stale. Because whenever I'm talking about animation, whenever or not it's realistic, I get bored. I really get bored. If you don't have like a unique type of style to it, something that has been suffering for me in terms of Disney and Pixar something in terms of Pixar or Disney or sometimes DreamWorks, or I would say less of DreamWorks. I would probably say Illumination as well. They have this type of arts. They have the same art style for every movie, and it gets kind of boring to me. And something like Captain Underpants, something like the Peanuts movie, they remind me that they can do like different styles in different movies and be self-aware with it as well, because there is a couple fourth wall jokes more in animated films to get the adults in there as well. Adults also watch these movies with their kids and they don't want to feel bored while watching it. So I think to the point of having something to look at that's appealing, can really bumps your movie up to being more than memorable. Now, in terms of the story and characters, I would have to say that this movie is very, very, very charming. It is very charming. It's pretty much about these two kids, Harold and what are the name? Harold and I keep on forgetting. God dang it. Harold and Captain Underpants. Okay, Captain Underpants. God, what's their name? George and Harold. Okay, George and Harold. And pretty much it's just about these two kids' friendship and pretty much the wacky adventures of Captain Underpants on the side. And you know what? For their friendship, I found it very, very relatable, especially in the scenes where it was just them talking about them doing drawings and stuff and making their comic, and it was it's just very heartwarming to see those scenes, like relatable scenes about, hey, actually teaching kids about animation, very good on you to do something like that, because anything that gets a kid into drawing, anything that gets a kid into something that they like to do and represents that in their own movies, it's heartwarming to me. It's very heartwarming to me, and these two characters have a good relationship together as friends and question about whether or not they're going to be friends for long, and it's very upwarming about that, and also the surrealness of treating the school like a prison, and all they want to do is help the students cheer up, help the students get through school. Now that I'm out of high school right now, I literally just graduated. Another thing, guys, I graduated Saturday. Saturday. I graduated from my high school, and now I'm going to be moving up to college. And now that has happened, and looking back at my at all the years of school that I've been through, or from kindergarten to 12th grade, looking back at it now, it just and looking at this movie and looking at how school is an oppression, but it can also be a very wacky type of environment to be around, especially with kids your own age. It just kind of reminded me of just the things, just the surreal weirdness of school. It just reminded me of this weirdness of school. It reminded me about, the friends that I used to have. It just brought like a smile to my face the way that they parodied everything about that. And I just I really appreciated it. I really appreciate that these writers really got the idea of, having school being in your movie. It's like, we're not just going to put, these students in school. We're going to put them in a prison. And you're going to sit there, you're going to watch these kids be miserable, and these two kids trying to cheer them up with their pranks and stuff. And it was, it was very charming to see that. And it was also very charming to see, that their principal, who eventually gets turned into Captain Underpants, Mr. Kirk, always trying to get them in a very psychotic way. He was a very very rule-bound person, and he was always trying to get George and Harold and their schemes and stuff. And I don't know why. It was just very, I don't know. It was just that obsessed, crazy teacher angle that just made me laugh. And it really, oh my god, it was. I'm thinking about the movie right now, and it was. I'm thinking back to some of the scenes, and they were really, really funny. And I know a lot of this movie has been getting good praise from critics. I mean, it has a 38% on Rotten Tomatoes. And yeah, it might seem that I'm very praising the movie a lot. I am praising the movie to high heaven and back. And you might think, oh, you must love this movie. And you know what? I love it. And you know what? I like it. I like it more than some of the other anime films that came out. I like it more than Smurfs. I like it more than Boss Baby. I mean, comparing this to Boss Baby, I would say that I do kind of like Boss Baby. I know, like, you guys are like, what? It's like, you never put a review out for it. It's like, I kind of like Boss Baby, but I like Captain Underpants a lot more than Boss Baby. But what keeps it from me giving it a full, like, great, good rating is the fact that, not the fact that it's overhyped, not the fact that it's, not the fact that it's all, not the fact that it's all, all silly, because I enjoy silly. I enjoy silly a lot of times. It's just the fact that this humor can sometimes very much wear on me, and here's why. I was talking about the video with Lindsay Ellis, and she was talking about the Transformers franchise and contrast, and where a shot's supposed to be, where a shot's not supposed to be, visuals to the Transformers movies. And she brought up a very good point of where when you're listening to a film, your eyes and ears are all on focus, which gives the brain much more harder work to do. You got to listen to the dialogue, and you also got to listen to the visuals that are telling the story in front of you. And sometimes if it goes way too fast, way too quickly, then your brain is going to tune it out. Your brain is going to tune it out. And it also goes for slow pacing movies as well. If nothing is happening, then your brain is also going to tune out. Your brain is looking for that excitement, but that excitement also has to be controlled. And I feel that way whenever I go to see a very wacky, a very a film that's going pretty much 100 miles per hour and can't sit down. It's just, it could be a detriment to your film whenever that happens. And while I do appreciate Captain Underpants for doing that, I would say to the fact that Captain Underpants is probably a movie that at the end of the year, at least to what is coming out right now, it's still going to go, like, probably really high, but it's not going to be anywhere near the best. I mean, this is the same problem I probably have with the Lego movie or the Lego Batman movie to a certain extent. It's just the point where jokes go by so fast that you don't have time to really react to it. And the problem that I had with Captain Underpants is the fact that dialogue would go, like, dialogue would sometimes go over each other, pretty much. They would say dialogue so fast, and they would go by the visual jokes so fast that not all of them hit. And I think that's a really hard thing to do, for an anime film, to get all the jokes in one hit, and you can't really do that. That's why I've always had a problem with anime films and pacing. You gotta pace your story, but you also gotta pace where you tell your jokes. Especially if they're visual jokes, you need them to hit. Or else we're not gonna hear the jokes. We're more gonna see the jokes. If you're getting behind that you're telling a visual medium, we're gonna be focused on telling more of the visual side than more of the dialogue based side. And yeah, I think that is a problem when you're doing like one of these animated films that wants to tell a joke every 10 seconds, is the fact that you're not going to catch all the jokes, and it's going to become really stressful, and you're going to tune out to the fact that, yeah, you're watching a very high energy anime film. But that doesn't necessarily make it bad. It just kind of necessarily makes it kind of a little bit of a downgrade per se. I mean, I like I don't know. It's just the fact that it's just something personal, probably for me, and I'm probably just not all that into that sense of humor. And if this becomes the norm, then I guess I'm gonna have to deal with it. It's just whether or not the story and characters can leave an impact on me after the movie is over. And I would say for these characters will probably leave an impact for me for about probably a week, and then I'll move on to the next thing. But okay. But I just, it's good to see the fact that, I realized that a lot of these anime films are adaptations, actually. Smurfs is an adaptation of a comic and cartoon. Boss Baby is an adaptation of a book. Batman is Batman. Lego Batman is Batman. And this is an adaptation of several books. It's just like, and then the rest are animated sequels. So yeah, I am very, very surprised that we're getting a lot of these adaptations. We're getting a lot of new things. Because here's the thing. There's another thing that I also want to talk about. People also complain about, why can't we see original films? Why can't we see original things? People don't want to put money where their mouth is. That's why. Because the general public does not care about your original ideas. That's why. Because the general public does not want to spend $20 on a movie if it's not going to impress them, and if it's not also attached to another movie or product that is successful. People are not going to do that. And if it is attached to something, then, it's there just to decide based on the marketing. I mean, why do you think the Emoji Movie, as much hate as the beginning, is going to be a hit? Because it's getting so much hate and people are going to see it out of spite. I mean, why do you think a My Little Pony in 2017 is going to be released as a theatrical film? Because My Little Pony has been a success since the 80s. I mean, I could be wrong, but it's been a success for a long time. I mean, I think it's almost going on it's probably 30 years or more that the My Little Pony franchise has been with us, and it's still going, and, people have made improvements to My Little Pony, and that's why it's getting a movie in theatrical release, because people will eat it up, and they will go see a movie, a sequel, a prequel, a midquel. They will go see these movies because it has a familiar product to it. And people aren't going to go see animated films with original idea, no idea is original. I'm not going to say that. No idea. Like, every idea has been used to death. It's just how you use that idea. wisely. But people aren't going to go see original characters. They're not going to go see original, they're not going to go see original, I would say, settings. They're not going to go see original things because the general public does not want to put their money where their mouth is. They don't want to do that. Maybe someday we'll change that, but other than... let me give you an example. Kubo and the Two Strings. Maybe based on something that is loosely tied to it, but other than that, it's original. How well did that movie do? Yeah, I figured that. But yeah, I think Captain Underpants is good. I really do admire Captain Underpants, probably more than I actually find it, great. But I still think it's good. And for that, I'll probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's better than Boss Baby, better than Smurfs. I think it's I think it leaves a good enough impact, so. And I hope it becomes a success because, by God, DreamWorks needs one. Especially with that little money. If we get animated films that cost like about $20 to $30 million, then yeah, we're gonna get a lot of these films to come because it's already happening. It's already happening. Oh, God. I get tired when I talk for almost 30 minutes straight. In the meantime, hopefully I won't get copyrighted for this. I probably will, but I don't care, because I'm just... While I go get a... Cute. Here, why don't... I'll go get a... Captain Underpants. Here it is. Here's the theme song, which I really like. Yeah, it goes from Weird Al. Yeah, I really, you know, it's a very, very silly song, but I like it. Nonetheless, I really like it. But yeah, I hope that 30, almost 30 minute long review of just talking about Captain Underpants, you know, satisfied you. Or maybe not. You probably like clicked out the video when you heard me talking about Captain Underpants. I don't care. I like doing these videos, even if nobody watches them. Which, you know, they probably just stop watching them, but I digress. Yeah. Um, okay, so I talked about that. I don't know what else to talk about.